let's jump right in. Welcome to today's deep dive, where we are unraveling the incredibly chaotic 45-year history of horror's most cursed object. If you've ever wondered how a single book could cause so much utter devastation across centuries, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's set the scene, kind of like a campfire ghost story. Picture this. You're walking into a dense, pitch-black forest miles away from civilization. You step inside this tiny wooden cabin. The air is thick. The furniture smashed to pieces. The walls are completely covered in deep scratch marks, literally as if someone tried to tear through the solid wood with their bare fingernails. There is dried blood on the floor. It's totally empty. No one alive, no one dead. The only thing sitting in the dead silence is a single old tape recorder. You walk up, you press play on that recorder, and you hear a man's voice chanting in this bizarre, ancient language, followed by the sudden, blood-curdling scream of a woman. If you walked into that room, you'd immediately be asking yourself, what in the world was this book? Who was reading it, and whose scream was on that tape? Part 1. Birth of the Bloody Book. Okay, so all of those questions lead back to one source. We're talking about the Necronomicon, or the Book of the Dead. Now, this book is thousands of years old, and get this, it wasn't even written by humans. It was authored by these demonic entities known as the Dark Ones. So the absolute crucial point here is that this isn't just paper and ink. It is a literal flesh-bound door waiting to unleash demons into our world. The cover, stitched from human skin. The words, written in human blood. Inside, it's packed with spells to summon demons, resurrect the dead, and lay out horrifying prophecies of the future. And there's this incredibly tragic, totally repeatable formula that dooms every single group of people who stumbles upon it. See, the demons behind this door have been waiting for thousands of years just for someone to speak the words aloud. The trap relies entirely on human curiosity. You find the hidden book, you read the incantations, the unseen demonic force awakens, and boom, it immediately possesses someone you love. Part 2, 1982, Cabin of Destruction. Now, the curse doesn't just stay in one era, right? It makes these totally chaotic jumps across time and space. But to really grasp the modern timeline, we absolutely have to start at that isolated cabin back in 1982. So, an archaeologist named Professor Raymond Noby unearthed the book, along with this bizarre dagger made entirely out of human bone. Thinking he'd made this massive historical discovery, he takes his wife out to that cabin in the woods to study the text in peace. But Professor Noby actually sealed his and his wife's doom just by recording the translations, leaving that cursed tape behind for the next victims. He reads the summoning spell out loud into the tape recorder, awakening a demon that literally tears through the woods. And that scream on the tape? Yeah, that was his wife's final moment. Part 3. Ash and the Dead Army. Literally a week later, 5 friends rent that exact same cabin. They find the book and the tape recorder down in the basement. Without even reading the book themselves, they simply play Professor Noby's tape. And that's it. The recorded words are enough to awaken the demon all over again. It attacks Ash's sister Cheryl, turning her into what the lore calls a deadite. Now, a deadite's most terrifying power isn't their claws or their teeth. No, it's their intense psychological ability to use your own love and empathy against you. They maintain the face and the voice of your loved one, crying out, begging for help. And the absolute second you let your guard down to comfort them, they strike. Through this completely grueling night of survival, Ash has to watch his friends turn into monsters one by one. The demon's influence is actually so incredibly strong that it even possesses Ash's own right hand. He literally has to brutally sever it from his own body just to survive. Talk about a bad night, right? And Ash realizes the horror is inescapable when he throws the book into the fireplace, and the book actually screams in pain, like a living being. Eventually, Professor Noby's daughter shows up with missing pages from the book containing a banishment spell. She reads them, ripping open a massive portal in the sky that sucks the demon away. But it pulls Ash right in along with it. Transported 700 years into the past, Ash wakes up in the year 1300 AD, a totally different time of kings and swords. To get back to his own timeline, he has to retrieve the true Necronomicon from a graveyard, and he is explicitly instructed to say 3 magical words before he even touches the book. But of course, Ash hilariously botches the magical retrieval words. Because he fumbles a phrase, the graveyard just erupts, forcing this medieval kingdom to fight an entire army of the dead. Using some modern ingenuity, Ash helps them actually win the battle and is finally sent back to his own time, but he leaves the book behind in the 1300s. Part 4. Death from Woods to Cities. We jump way forward to the year 2013. A brand new group of friends takes a girl named Mia to a familiar, isolated cabin to help her overcome a really severe addiction. And you guessed it, they find the book in the basement again. Now this time, the book is tightly bound in barbed wire, with explicit written warnings inside practically screaming at them not to read it. But human curiosity wins again, triggering the curse. Someone reads the spell, Mia gets possessed, and a brutal massacre ensues that fulfills an ancient prophecy from the book, causing a literal rain of blood from the sky. Just wild. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I just won't go to creepy cabins in the woods. Problem solved. But the curse evolves. It makes this utterly terrifying shift from the classic isolated cabin setup to the inescapable, totally claustrophobic trap of a packed Los Angeles apartment building in 2023. An earthquake violently shakes LA, cracking open the floor of a high-rise parking garage. And what does it unearth? A 100-year-old bank locker holding the Necronomicon and these ancient vinyl records of priests reading the cursed words. Those voices were just waiting patiently in the dark for an entire century, until a child from the building found them and hit play. The audio echoes all the way up through the elevator shaft, reaching a mother of 3 named Ellie, turning her into a deadite. Now, really ask yourself, how would you react if your own mother was begging you to open the door? It perfectly grounds this fantasy horror into just pure, unadulterated psychological trauma. She literally stands outside her children's room, using her sweet, comforting motherly voice to trick them into letting her in. In a single night, the demon turns an entire towering apartment building filled with hundreds of families into an absolute slaughterhouse. Part 5, 2026, New Chapter of Terror. The utter devastation is far from over, because the legacy of the Necronomicon continues in the upcoming release, Evil Dead Born. In this fresh nightmare, the very family a broken, grieving widow seeks refuge with transforms into the ultimate threat. She's seeking comfort at an isolated home with her in-laws to just escape her pain, right? But the curse awakens again, turning her only support system into bloodthirsty deadites hunting her down. This universe takes a really chilling twist on the classic wedding vow, "Till death do us part," but what if death doesn't part us? It is just a perfect distillation of the inescapable dread of this entire franchise. In the world of the Necronomicon, dying definitely doesn't mean you get to rest. So when you're sitting in that dark theater watching all of this unfold, surrounded by strangers and loved ones, I want you to remember the golden rule of the Deadites. If a voice you absolutely love whispers your name from the row behind you, whatever you do, do not look back.